Raleigh, North Carolina is the most amazingest, most perfectest place on the face of the earth. Okay, that may not be entirely the truth. So today we're going to break it down for you and give you the real facts on what's going on in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hi, this is Chris Morton, real estate broker with eXp Realty in Raleigh, North Carolina. And today we're going to give you the real scoop, what's going on behind the scenes. It's not all lollipops and rainbows here in Raleigh, and so we're going to break it all down for you right this minute. But first, we want to thank all our subscribers and especially give a special shout out to Josh C., one of our very first subscribers. Josh, thanks for being there with us from the beginning. So now let's get on with the video. So the first topic we want to talk about is the changing culture in Raleigh. We've been getting a lot of comments under our videos from frustrated Raleigh locals, so we're going to try to explain where this is likely coming from and what you can do to help the situation. With the explosive growth the Raleigh area has experienced, we've seen a lot of really amazing changes and improvements to our city. But we're also seeing a lot of negative changes in recent years. Raleigh has always had a reputation for Southern hospitality, and it's still very much like that. But we're starting to see more and more rude and inconsiderate behavior as well. Honking for absolutely no valid reason, and by the way, honking is considered rude in the South. People leaving shopping carts all over parking lots. Huge increase in trash on the sides of the road. People not holding doors for other people. People trying to cut in line in traffic. And while people in Raleigh generally have a perception of being really polite and friendly, this has really kind of changed things around here. Tanner, my business partner and the co-owner of this channel, has noticed coming from California what a great big giant culture shock it was moving here. So if you're moving from a place like that, it's going to be a shock for you too. So if you're coming from out of state, realize people that live here may behave a little bit differently than where you're coming from. So what can we all do to help this situation? So try to assimilate and don't trash talk the people that are from here or that have been living here for a long time. When a traffic light goes from red to green and it's in that purple phase, please don't honk at people in front of you. And if you're a Raleigh native, please remember people come from all walks of life and are coming from all parts of the country and really all over the world to come here. And change and growth is inevitable, so try to adapt and be patient and everybody get along together. There's definitely some resentment from some locals here, and we're going to talk about that later in this video. The next thing we're going to talk about is you can't buy liquor in grocery stores. People are shocked when they get here and find you can't just go to the grocery store and buy liquor off the shelves. Liquor is only sold in government-owned ABC stores, and those stores are closed on Sunday. So if you're interested in buying liquor, you have to buy it Monday through Saturday. Sorry. The next topic to tell you about is traffic is getting really bad. And yes, it is all relative to where you're coming from, but it's really a lot busier here traffic-wise than what most people are expecting it to be. Most of this increase in traffic is obviously coming because our population is increasing. On top of that, we don't have the best drivers here in the first place, and our roads are a little confusing, signs are confusing, so you imagine that makes for a really difficult mix, shall we say, as you're trying to get from point A to point B. So the next topic to tell you about is Raleigh is crazy about certain foods. Don't come here and trash talk Krispy Kreme. It was started here in North Carolina. People love their Dunkin' Donuts, but for a lot of people, Krispy Kreme is the go-to donut. We even have an event called the Krispy Kreme Challenge. It takes place in downtown Raleigh, and basically you start at the NC State Battle Tower, you run 2.5 miles to the Krispy Kreme location downtown Raleigh, you eat a dozen donuts, and then you run 2.5 miles back, or at least you try to. Some people and or their donuts don't make it all the way back. It's really a sight to see. What's cool about it is it's been going on for 17 years. It's a charitable event. It donates money to the UNC Children's Hospital. Really great event and very memorable. Something definitely, if you're not gonna participate, it's definitely worth you going and checking out. The next food I need to tell you about is a restaurant called Bojangles. It's regional and they specialize in biscuits, fried chicken, chicken tenders, and breakfast all day and sweet tea. So definitely something you want to try. It is a passion here. It's very addictive. I don't know what they put in it, but I'm ready to go to Bojangles right now just talking about it. It's really cool. The next food I need to tell you about, we've talked about before, and that is sweet tea. So if you are out at a restaurant and you ask for tea, please know 9 times out of 10 you're going to get sweet tea. So if you're not prepared for super syrupy sweet tea, you might want to ask for unsweet or half and half, which is the phrase for half sweet, half unsweet. And this also ties into Bojangles, who seems to have some of the best tea around, at least in my opinion. And the last restaurant, the last food I need to tell you about is Chick-fil-A. I know they're all over everywhere, but it is a passion here in Raleigh. If you come from an area that has an In-N-Out burger and you know about the long lines, that's pretty much what it's like here with Chick-fil-A, except instead of burgers, it's chicken and the lines stretch out just as long. Really good food, definitely recommended. The next thing we need to tell you about is Copperheads. So Wake County, which is the county that Raleigh is in, has the highest number of venomous snake bites in the country. And those snakes are called Copperheads. They're less venomous than most other venomous snakes, but they do need to be taken seriously. They can be found anywhere, including residential areas. However, you're most likely going to see them on the greenway or near woods or near water. It's extremely unlikely for their bites to be fatal, and your pets are really more likely to be bit than you are. You hear all the time about people who have dogs that have been bit by copperheads, but dogs tend to handle the bites better than humans do. Usually a dose of Benadryl is all they need. The next topic to tell you about is cable versus fiber internet. So in Raleigh, we have pretty slow internet. It's the cable kind, the DSL kind, but luckily we're moving towards fiber. Google Fiber is here. We're in one of the few cities in the country that they're in. AT&T Fiber's here, and we also have Ting. So things are getting much better depending on where you live, but be aware that internet can be slow in a good bit of the areas until they get it established everywhere. The next topic to talk about is the homeless problem. We're in no way trying to disrespect the homeless population, but you need to know what the situation is like here in Raleigh. The homeless population is visibly increasing. We're starting to see more and more people camped out and on street corners. It's nothing like what you're seeing in other parts of the country like California, but it's still an issue here. Studies show that the homeless population is increasing by 8% year over year, so just be aware of it. Be aware that they're here. The next topic you need to know about is college sports. So college sports is a really big deal in the Raleigh area. So we have three major teams. NC State in Raleigh, called State, Duke University in Durham, Duke, and UNC Chapel Hill in Chapel Hill, which is called Carolina. So when you get here, you need to pick a team, you need to pick a tribe, and know that in some time of the year, basketball season, especially Carolina Duke, it's like the Hatfields and McCoys. You're gonna have good friends that are Duke fans. You probably aren't gonna talk to them for a week or two if you're a Carolina fan. It's a really big deal, so be prepared for it. We still have people who like their pro teams, but it's these three college teams that are the really big deal around here. I personally went to UNC Chapel Hill, and I can tell you from personal experience, it's a really big deal. When the basketball team or the football team wins a big game, basketball team wins a national championship or beats Duke, the student population and the locals usually run out onto Franklin Street, which is the main street in Chapel Hill. Bonfires, streets blocked off. It's a big giant party. It's a big, big deal. Same thing happens at Duke when they win. NC State as well. Hillsborough Street gets blocked off. The next topic we need to talk about is the resentment from locals. You may have heard the term, "Don't California my North Carolina," or "Don't California my Florida," or "Don't California my Texas." And if you've spent any amount of time reading the comments under our videos here, you probably know what this phrase is talking about. It's basically coming from some people that are frustrated that they feel that people are coming here to turn Raleigh into the city that they left. A lot of this sentiment is coming from cultural changes we mentioned earlier, but a lot of it is based on economic reasons as well. People that were born and raised here are starting to get priced out of areas because so many people are moving here and driving up home prices. It doesn't mean you shouldn't come here, but just be sensitive that if you've sold your house in New York City and made a ton of money and you've come here and paid cash for something, most people don't want to hear you bragging about it. Most people here are very friendly and are welcoming to most everybody no matter where they come from. But if you want to make friends, it's probably a good idea not to come here and brag about the state you came from and the city you came from and how awesome it was and all that sort of thing. So don't come to Raleigh and tell everybody about what a great deal you got here and how much you sold your house for in the city you came from. It's generally going to be considered rude and people are not going to want to hear it. The next topic to tell you about is the crazy things that happen when we could potentially be getting snow around here. So the Raleigh-Durham Chapel Hill area is in the middle of the state, and there's this mysterious snow line, ice line that happens where the northern part of the triangle, Durham, Chapel Hill, Roxborough, gets ice and snow, and the lower part, Raleigh on down, Fuquay Varina, Clayton, Garner, Holly Springs, Apex, gets just rain or maybe a little bit of ice. So it's this really hard line that's hard to tell what you're gonna get, and it shifts Sometimes we all get snow, sometimes only the northern parts of the area get snow, but you very, very rarely ever are gonna see Apex, Holly Springs, the lower part of the triangle, get ice and snow, and Roxborough, Durham at the northern part of the triangle get nothing. It will very rarely happen that way. The next topic we need to talk about is our home prices. And we've talked about this a little bit in some previous videos, but just be aware, our population is increasing and it's driving up demand for homes, and it is very, very difficult to find somewhere to live. You have to be very competitive. And our next topic, beer culture. So beer has gotten to be a really big thing in the Triangle. We have tons of breweries sprouting up in the Triangle and in Raleigh, and people really, really love their beer. We even have this festival called Broogaloo with over 110 craft breweries that present their beers. It happens in downtown Raleigh in the summer. It's a really, really cool event. They shut down the streets, and it's the largest craft beer festival in the entire state of North Carolina. So if you're into beer, Raleigh is really a great place for you. So there you have it, some things about Raleigh, North Carolina you may not have known about. Like and subscribe below. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks a lot.